And taking part in our fourth semi-final tonight are Angie Sales, age 23. She's a librarian living in London. She likes athletics, writing and rock music. Bill Bigley is a 27-year-old electronics engineer from Maghull, Merseyside. His interests are current affairs, reading and DIY. Joanna Baker, age 25, a housewife who comes from Barry, South Glamorgan. She enjoys tennis, swimming and gardening. And Charlie Riley, 33 years old, a local government officer living in Edinburgh. His interests are sport, music and current affairs. And here is your host, Gordon Burns.
Good evening and welcome to the last of the four semi-finals in this year's series of the Krypton Factor. Just one more contestant to find to complete the lineup for next week's grand final. And that contestant will be the winner of this evening's contest. But right now I'm going to wish all the contestants, men and women, the very best of luck and let battle commence. Round one is mental agility. And as in the previous three semi-finals, we have another neighbourhood game. And in this particular instance, that description could not be more apt. The contestants are going to see a diagram of a street. That street will contain 8 houses, 4 on each side of the road. The houses will be clearly numbered, the names of the owners will be marked, and the houses will have varying numbers of windows. The contestants will be asked questions that deal with the relationship of one house to another in terms of names, numbers and windows. Right, contestants, will you please now turn to your screens and before the test, an example of the sort of thing you're going to be asked.
For example, what is the number of the house to the left of the house with 2 more windows than the house opposite number 8?
And the answer is number 2. Opposite house number 8 is number 7. And the house with 2 more windows than number 7 is number 4. And to the left is number 2.
Right, now that everyone knows how it works, let us go into the first set of questions. We're going to start with your question, Angie.
What is the number of the house opposite the house whose number is 3 less than the house opposite the Golds?
Number 1.
And you are right, a good start, 3 points. Now let's move on to Bill Bigley, your question.
Who lives in the house opposite the house with 2 less windows than the Browns?
Gray. Correct. 3 points for you too, Bill. And now to Joanna.
What is the number of the house next door but 1 to the house opposite the house with 5 windows?
Five.
You should have stuck with the first one. It was in fact number 7. Now, Charlie.
Who lives in the house next door to the house with 3 more windows than the house opposite?
An answer, please.
White.
No, green. So I'm afraid you don't score there, Charlie. But we move on now to a second set of questions. This time they're just that little bit more difficult. Still worth 3 points for the right answer. Angie, here's your question.
What is the number of the house which has 1 more window than the house with 1 more window than its neighbour?
Number 4.
Also right, so you have got another 3 points and got the maximum 6 so far. Bill Bigley, here's your question.
Who lives in the house next door to the house with 1 more window than the house opposite?
Gold.
Correct. And 3 points. You too have the full 6. Now, Joanna, your next question.
What is the number of the house opposite the house with 2 less windows than the Blacks?
Your answer, please, Joanna.
1.
Is correct. And 3 points for you. Charlie, your question.
How many windows are there in the house opposite the house whose number is 3 less than its number of windows?
Green.
We were asking for the number, and it was number 1, so I'm afraid I can't give you points there. But that completes 2 sets of questions. There is one more question to come. It's even more difficult than the last lot, but all the contestants compete against each other here because it's on the buzzer, and here comes the question.
What is the number of the house opposite the house whose number is 2 less than the house with 2 more windows than the house directly opposite?
Charlie,
Number 1.
you are right, and here is the reason why.
The house with 2 more windows than the house directly opposite was number 4. The house whose number is 2 less than 4 is, of course, number 2. And the house opposite number 2 was number 1.
Simple, wasn't it? And it is you then, Charlie, that get the 4 points. Well done. We then enter all those points into the Masters scoreboard, and at the end of the first round, 2 contestants are sharing the lead with a Krypton factor of 6, London's Angie Sales and Merseyside's Bill Bigley. A fairly even start as we go on now into round 2, physical ability, and it promises to be a very fascinating race over the assault course, because not only are 2 women matched against 2 men, but we also have the only woman to win outright on the course in all the 12 heats, and that's Joanna Baker, of course. Let's go now to the start, and Sergeant Major Instructor Bernie White with the 4 runners.
On your mark!
The 2 ladies start together. On the far side, Joanna Baker from South Wales in green, and closest to us, London's Angie Sales wearing red. And they really need to make the most of this handicap system because they know that Bill Bigley behind them is one of the fastest men over this course. But Angie Sales just in the lead from Joanna Baker. Now Scotland's Charlie Riley is underway, but the man to watch is Bill Bigley. There he is. He's so fast, so determined, so competitive, and look at the pace he starts off at. But he has a long way to go to make up on the lead established by Angie and Joanna. But just look at that style as he goes across the rope swing. Joanna now taken over the lead from Angie as they go to the cargo net. Bill down that rope, not advisable that way because it can open up blisters on your hand. He should really have gone down hand over hand. Joanna in a bit of trouble, misses the net, but Bill Bigley is almost up level with her and with Angie Sales. There he comes. And in fact, about to go into the lead. He really has set a cracking pace right at the start here. And I think really the battle now is for second place. And at the moment, in that second place is Joanna, with Angie third and Charlie Riley fourth. Joanna, housewife from South Wales, and Angie Sales, who works in the Guildhall Library. But no holding Bill Bigley, beautifully over the top of the scramble net, and he's almost off it as the 2 ladies start to climb. So I think a bit of pride now between the 2 ladies in a battle for second place, though Charlie Riley will be hoping to get there as well. Bill Bigley absolutely relentless as he goes towards the rope bridge. But it's been neck and neck throughout in this race. At one stage Angie was in the lead, then it was Joanna, then it was Angie. Now they're neck and neck while Bill Bigley prepares to come down the aerial slide. You just can't separate these 2. They're fighting it out to the finish. And the electronics engineer who works for British Aerospace, Bill Bigley, well clear, marvellous run as he comes down with just the scramble net to go under. And it looks like Joanna is going to come down first in second place. But look at the style there. Rhythmic, pushing his way through. And a couple of strides now to the finish. An excellent run by Bill Bigley. He's in first place. It's Joanna fractionally ahead of Angie for second place. Charlie Riley behind in fourth. But who's going to get there? Look at them, absolutely neck and neck as they go under that net. The first person to emerge will get second place because it's only 2 strides to the finish. In fact, it's Joanna Baker. She comes through for second place, Angie third and Charlie fourth.
Good fast run there, and Bill Bigley won it, so he gets the 10 points. Then in the battle between the two women for second place, Joanna Baker got second and 6 points. Angie Sales just behind gets 4 points. And Charlie Riley, bringing up the rear, did finish the course. He gets 2. We now enter all those points into the scoreboard. And we now have out in front with a Krypton factor of 16, the man from Maghull, Merseyside, Bill Bigley. Let's move on then into round 3, the intelligence test, and the contestants are ready to convey a little more of the Krypton qualities. They each have in front of them a frame with 5 conveyor belts already in position. They've also been given 7 drive belts, which they must use to link the conveyor wheels. If done correctly, then a turn of the drive wheel should set the conveyor system in motion. But that is not all. The Krypton blocks at the top must be placed on the conveyor belt in such a way that when they reach the bottom, they spell out Krypton, reading from left to right as we look at it. Right, contestants, are you ready? The test starts now.
Well, the first task for the contestants is to work out in which direction each conveyor belt will move. And those belts are of varying sizes, so you've got to decide which one fits where and whether or not you need to cross the belt into a figure-8 shape. And that, of course, drives the wheels in opposite directions. Now, when you've solved all that, the most difficult part is then to come, which Angie has reached here, and that's with those blocks. They've got to be placed at the top in the right orientation, because there are a number of chutes which they have to fall down, like that one there, and they actually turn through 90 degrees when they drop. But Angie solves it, and she wins this round. Angie sails. And Bill's got the N wrong there. He'll have to put that back up to the top again, find the right position for it, and say, oh dear, Charlie's got all the belts in the wrong position. He's just pulling them there, trying to force it through. But I think the N is right here for Bill. It should drop upright, and it does. So Merseyside's Bill Bigley gets second place. And with Charlie in so much trouble, it's going to be Joanna third if that N drops, and it does. Third place for Joanna Baker.
A fascinating test there, and well done Angie Sales, who completed it in the fastest time and gets the 10 points. Then Bill Bigley in second place gets 6, Joanna Baker gets 4, and Charlie Riley, who I'm afraid got those drive belts just a little bit tangled up at the end, gets 2 points. But we enter them all now into the scoreboard, and 3 rounds gone, and in front still with a Krypton factor of 22, the electronics engineer from Merseyside, Bill Bigley. 2 rounds to go. This is round 4 observation, and tonight's clip comes from a brand new Walt Disney release, The Watchers in the Wood. And very briefly, it chronicles the strange and frightening things that happen when a family move into a country mansion.
What is it?
Ah, Mrs. Aylward, I brought a lovely family to look
You were told to notify me first.
I tried to reach you by telephone.
I haven't left the house all day.
Mrs. Curtis writes charming children's books, and Mr. Curtis is quite well known in American musical circles. Pianist and composer. He's here to conduct one of his own operas for the Blenheim Festival. Mrs. Aylward, are you all right?
I'll get the keys.
You'll never get
Mrs. Aylwood told me that Karen, her daughter, disappeared years ago when she was just about my age and was never seen again. If Karen was murdered, that would explain her haunting the woods, wouldn't it? Mrs. Aylwood said there were 3 kids with Karen the night that she disappeared. One was John Keller, and there was a Tom something. Collier?
There's Tom Collie. He lives in the woods in the old hunting lodge. Kind of a hermit.
And there was a girl. Mary Pierce.
Mary Pierce.
Yeah.
That was my mother's name before she married Dad.
That's it, contestants. A fairly eerie film clip there, but we've got some questions for you now. 2 each, worth 2 points each. Here is your first one, Angie. What were the letters on the lorry's registration plate? The letters.
MEB 224.
Correct. So I just want the letters. You didn't go on. 2 points. Well done. What was the name of the old lady who owned the house?
Mrs. Aylwood.
Correct. And 2 more points. You get the full 4. Well done. Bill, what was attached to the front of the lorry above the driver's cab?
A horseshoe.
Correct. 2 points. The estate agent was talking to Mrs. Aylwood about her 2 prospective tenants. What did she say Mrs. Curtis did?
Wrote children's books.
Correct. 2 points. You too get the maximum 4 there. Joanna, how many apparently supernatural occurrences did we see in the entire clip?
2.
No, 3 in fact. Described as a pianist and composer, where was Mr. Curtis going to conduct one of his own operas?
At the Blenheim concerts.
The Blenheim Festival, which is close enough, I think, so you get 2 points. Now, Charlie, apart from the wall, what else was reflected in the mirror the girl was looking at before the ghost appeared?
Oh, it was like a dresser with figurines.
It was indeed. Well done, 2 points. 3 people were said to have been present the night Karen disappeared. One was Tom Collie. Can you name one of the other 2?
It was Mary Sawyer.
Nope. It was Mary Pierce or John Keller, so I can't give you points there. Sorry. But we're going to move on now to the buzzer. 4 more questions worth a point each. If a contestant gets the answer wrong, it's open for one of the others to try. How many of the riders... Joanna?
1.
Right, we're wearing hats. Well done, and a point to you. Why was Mrs. Aylwood annoyed with the estate agent? Charlie?
She hadn't contacted them that there was people coming round.
Close enough, in fact, for not phoning her, but 1 point to you. Where was Mr. Curtis said to be well known? Bill?
London.
Nope. Charlie?
America?
Correct, and another point. Where did the boy say that Tom Collie lived? Charlie?
He was a hermit in the woods.
That's correct, and another point. Well done. And that, in fact, concludes the direct questioning on that film clip. And let's go straight on then to the identity parade, worth, of course, another 2 points. And I want the contestants to think back to one of those strange happenings. It was when the lorry crashed after one of the horses bolted across in front of it. And it is the lorry driver we want them to identify from this lineup of 9 lorry drivers. For 2 more points, which one was in the film? Right, contestants, will you make your selections, please, now? And they have all gone for them. Let's look. 2 have gone for number 4, and the other 2 have gone for number 2. So would the lorry drivers in the lineup with those numbers step forward, please? Number 4 there is the choice of both Angie Sales and Charlie Riley. And number 2, the choice of Bill Bigley and Joanna Baker. So let's now find out who the lorry driver really is. Will he make himself known to the contestants? Now, please. And he is number 4 in real-life actor Roy Allen. Well done, Angie and Charlie, for spotting the lorry driver and getting the extra 2 points. But we feed all the points, won in both sections of the round, into the scoreboard. And look at that, with 1 round to go. 2 contestants sharing the lead with Krypton factors of 26. Merseyside's Bill Bigley and London's Angie Sales. And so the final round, general knowledge, and at the end of it we shall know who goes through to next week's final. Let's start with the individual set of questions. Here are yours, Angie. Who stole the beautiful Helen from her husband Menelaus and took her back to Troy with him?
Oh, Paris.
Correct, 2 points. Which musical about a Jewish village in pre-revolutionary Russia contained the songs If I Were a Rich Man and Sunrise Sunset?
Fiddler on the Roof.
Correct, another 2 points. Which group of islands includes St Mary's, Tresco, St Martin's, St Agnes and Briar?
The Scilly Isles.
Correct, and 2 more points. You get the full 6. Well done. Now, Bill, which youth in mythology fell in love with his own reflection in a pool and pined away until he was changed into a flower?
Narcissus.
Correct, 2 points. Which rock singer, whose real name is David Jones, has produced albums called Space Oddity, The Man Who Sold the World, and The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust?
David Bowie.
Correct, and another 2 points. Into which ocean does the Limpopo River flow through Mozambique?
The Indian.
Correct, 2 points. You also get the full 6. Well done. What a battle. Joanna, which king of Thebes unknowingly killed his father Laius and then married his mother Jocasta?
I don't know.
Oedipus. Which musical show included the songs Good Morning Starshine and Aquarius?
Here.
Correct, 2 points. Which sea separates Italy from Yugoslavia and Albania?
Aegean.
No, the Adriatic. Now, Charlie. Who was the Roman god of doors and gateways, who had 2 faces looking in opposite directions?
Janus.
Correct, 2 points. Which 1977 record by Paul McCartney and Wings became the first to sell more than 2 million copies in Great Britain?
Mull of Kintyre.
Correct, 2 more points. Whereabouts is the Cook Strait, named after Captain Cook, who mapped the area in 1769 and the early 70s?
Between the North and South Island of New Zealand.
That is absolutely right, and 2 more points. You get the full 6. Well done. And now we go to the very final section on the buzzer. 90 seconds of questions, 1 point for the right answer, a point deducted if a contestant gives the wrong answer. So stand by, contestants, ready on the buzzer. The clock starts now. What is the new rate of road tax on cars following Bill?
£80.
Correct. In the 1980 Olympics, which British athlete won the men's 100... Bill?
Alan Wells.
Correct. Wellington is the capital of which Commonwealth? Bill?
New Zealand.
Correct. In which arts centre is the new London home of the Royal Shakespeare? Charlie?
Barbican.
Correct. Frederick I of Germany's surname was Barbarossa. What does that mean? Charlie?
Redhead.
No, red beard. You lose a point. Who wrote about the Red Cross Knight in his poem The Fairy Queen in the 1590s? Bill?
Edmund Spencer.
Correct. John Spencer has 3 times been world champion at... Bill?
Snooker.
Correct. What name is given to the savoury snack of grilled oysters rolled in bacon served on toast? The answer is Angels on Horseback. Which singing group had #1 hits with Angelo, Figaro and Save Your Kisses for Me? Charlie?
Brotherhood of Man.
Correct. What was the name of the French brothers who launched the first hot air balloons in... Angie?
Montpellier.
Pardon?
Montpellier.
No, Montgolfier. You lose a point. Montevideo is the capital of which country? Charlie?
Uruguay.
Correct. Uruguay won the first Football World Cup. Which country won the second? Bill?
Italy.
Correct. In which Italian city did Shakespeare set the action of Romeo and Juliet? The answer, Verona. Veronica, muleta and corrida are terms used. Charlie?
Bullfighting.
Correct. What's the opposite of a... And so it's all over, and the winner tonight with a Krypton factor of 38 is Merseyside's Bill Bigley. Absolutely tremendous finish, and congratulations to Bill Bigley. And he goes through to our final next week. And, of course, we now know the full lineup for that final. From Aberdeen, Mark Ellis. From Liverpool, Steve Athens. From Bristol, John Webley. And, of course, from Maghull, Bill Bigley, tonight's winner. And in the meantime now, from all tonight's semi-finalists and from myself, good night.